What up, YouTube? It's a new day. It's a new case. Alright, so before I get started with the video, this is a response to Shady Slim, Quantarius Coleman, and the Fact King, aka 978 Diplomats 34. So, I don't want anybody to try to start any animosity. Not saying that anybody's ever tried to do that with me, but you never know. There's always a first time for anything. And before I get started, I just wanted you to know that if you go to any of these channels and try to start shit, you getting blocked. I consider all three of them to be friends of mine. As for the Fact King and Quantarius Coleman, I've done spotlights on both of them. And Shady Slim, me and him, we chop it up almost every day in the comments section, whether it be in a video of mine or a video of his. I have much respect for him. I'm glad that I've inspired him, inspired some of his videos. And, I think me and him, we feed off each other pretty well. So this isn't a diss against any of them. This is very respectful. This is just me chiming in on this topic because I honestly think it's just good boxing talk. So, as far as Terrence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., at this point in both of their careers, okay, I'm talking about the 39-year-old Floyd Mayweather Jr. we know today. I'm talking about the 28-year-old Terrence Crawford that we know today. In a fair fight, I do think that Terrence Crawford could possibly beat him. I think he has the tools. I think he has the tools and the know-how. It's damn near a 50-50 fight. I would have to give a slight edge to Floyd Mayweather Jr. But I do think that Terrence Crawford could actually pull off an upset if this fight were to happen today in a fair fight. That being said, ain't no way Terrence Crawford is going to get a fair fight with Floyd Mayweather. Therefore, I would pick Mayweather to beat Terrence Crawford. If you listen to the hashtag Come Back to Boxing radio show that happened on Friday, I definitely recommend check it out if you haven't. But if you have, you'll we did spend a good time talking about Floyd Mayweather Jr. And shout out to Jeff Cotto. He put on a great radio show that day. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed being part of the panel, and I think it was just some great boxing talk. But we did talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a good part of the radio broadcast. And one of the things that came up is that in the second fight against Maidana, Floyd Mayweather Jr. did not allow any rope game in that fight. So, Floyd Mayweather, he comes up with his own rules, and that's the other reason why we really can't give him that full credit. People want to say, oh, if he does this, you won't give him credit. Yeah, we don't give him full credit a lot of times because he comes up with his own diva rules. I've never heard of a fighter not allowing their opponent to have any rope game. I made a joke saying that if he were to fight Triple G, he'd say Triple G wouldn't be allowed to cut the ring or he'll get points deducted. And of course I was joking. I think that would be going a bit too far. And if he were to do that, I'd give him zero credit in that fight. I don't care if he's fighting him at 160. I don't care if he's fighting him at 154. If you're not going to allow somebody to use their natural ability, then why am I going to give you credit? But anyways, that being said, I do think that Terrence Crawford has the tools to beat Floyd Mayweather. I would still give Floyd Mayweather the edge just because he has such experience. I mean, you got to give the guy his due. I mean, he has done great things in the sport. It's just too bad that a lot of it's been tarnished in recent years. As for Terrence Crawford going against prime Mayweather, absolutely not. The Mayweather that beat Diego Corrales, there ain't no way that Terrence Crawford would beat him. I think that he would get severely outclassed by prime Mayweather. Mayweather at this point, I think he could do it. I think he has the skills and the tools to do so. That's just my opinion. So don't crucify me over that. Next, as far as Adrian Broner is concerned, I say that Terrence Crawford beats Adrian Broner. Now, at first when I thought about this fight, I would say, Terrence Crawford would knock him out. But after thinking about it and reevaluating and, looking at some of Broner's fights, I don't think that Terrence Crawford would knock him out. I do think that he would outwork Broner. I think he would beat him. I do think it's a possibility he could get a TKO on Broner, but I don't think it would. I think it would end in either a UD or even a SD. But I definitely think that Crawford beats Broner, just because Broner, if all the most important fights of his career, he's lost. With the exception of Paulie Malignaggi, but Paulie Malignaggi is not really that great of a win if you really think about it. So all the most important fights that he's been in, he's lost. He lost against Sean Porter. He lost against Maidana. Those are the two biggest names he fought that could actually give him trouble, and he lost to both of them. So if it's not a TKO, he would definitely get outworked by Crawford. I think Crawford would confuse Broner, really. And I think in the confusion, he could work out a TKO, possibly. But I wouldn't give it a definite. If they were to fight 100 times, I would say that Crawford would probably win 97 of those fights. And maybe, I'll have to say 4 or 5 of those would be by TKO. So I do think that the TKO is possible. I don't think it would happen, though. I think it would be highly unlikely. So that's my take on these. And, everybody has a right to their opinion. As for the pound for pound, I see what Shady's saying, and this isn't a knock against Shady at all. He knows that I have the utmost respect for him. But as for the pound for pound, I mean, you got to keep in mind, pound for pound is really just a gauge. It doesn't really mean that, if Terrence Crawford were to fight any of the guys that are below him, he would beat them. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe Anthony Joshua is listed on there, but do you think Terrence Crawford would beat Anthony Joshua? Hell to the no. Joshua is way too big. He'd knock him out in the first round. I guarantee it. So, I mean, it is a good gauge, though. So, I do think that Shady did put up a pretty good argument there. But you also have to take into account, really, BoxRec is a very good gauge. That's probably the best gauge that you could use because it's strictly resume. But at the end of the day, it's still just a pound for pound, and pound for pound is a lot of perception. There's a lot of arguments that could be made for and against a lot of fighters. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, Andre Ward shouldn't be on the pound for pound list right now just simply because of inactivity. And he should have been able to put Paul Smith out earlier than he did, in my opinion. But I don't want to hold that against him. It could be ring rust. I think, you know, the Barrera fight will tell us a whole lot. But that's just an example. So, but props to Shady Slim. If you haven't checked out his channel, definitely go check him out. Great channel. Quantarius Coleman, he's definitely a YouTube channel on the rise. He keeps it real. So check him out. And check out 978 Diplomat 34, aka The Fact King. He's a great channel, puts out a lot of great content. I think he's underrated, but he is on the rise. He's getting a lot of subscribers, and I mean, he just puts out great content, a lot of facts. So that I will definitely give him. And you know, definitely check out my boy Jay Cotto. Check out the hashtag Comeback to Boxing Radio for sure. If you with hashtag Comeback to Boxing, big shout out to y'all. And as always, y'all have a wonderful and glorious blessed day.